In this lesson, we'll go more in depth in how we should choose our camera angles. Now, before we get right into our scene and start to angle our cameras, we need to first understand what type of impression we're trying to make in our scene. It's a good idea to set up storyboards, just really rough sketches. They don't have to be the best drawings at all. They just need to convey the impression we're trying to make on the audience. All right, so what we have in this scene, again, is our mad scientist and his minion. And what we're going to do is use a few camera angles to create the impression that this mad scientist is very demanding. He's the boss in charge. He's sinister, no one to play around with. And we'll have the minion appear to be innocent and somewhat hurt by the correction he's getting from the mad scientist. So let's head over to the Create panel and create a free camera. And again, with Angle Snap, I'll go ahead and just rotate this up 90 degrees. We'll head over to Viewport Configurations and set our 2-panel layout and set our shot camera on the left side. Okay, so by angling our camera upward as it moves down, we create the illusion of this mad scientist really being in charge and somewhat sinister. If we were to face it the opposite direction where it's pointing downward and moving up, now he looks like a humble guy, someone that's really friendly. So that's the psychology around the camera angles that we choose. We can even add some rotation to create a different emotion in our camera angle. By adding a slant, maybe there's more to this scientist than meets the eye. So those are some things we want to consider. And there's a lot more we can discuss, but being that this is just an introduction to camera animation course, we'll go ahead and leave it at that. But let's say we go ahead and create this now. So I'm going to turn on the show frames or save frames to make sure that we have a good angle of our scientist. I'll kind of capture a front 3/4 view from the bottom looking up. And again, this creates this towering illusion. All right, so he's talking to the to his minion, and when we are working on camera cuts, again, we don't want to cross over that invisible line, but at the same time, we just need to have our shot length be what is necessary to get the point across. Once that point is received, then we want to go ahead and switch to a different camera angle. So let's say the mad scientist is doing a dialogue for about 80 frames or so. We can go ahead and turn on auto key, check our key filters, making sure we can key in rotation and position. And on frame 80, I'll go ahead and set a key. And on 81, let's go ahead and bring the attention to the other character. We'll go ahead and just rotate the camera around, bring it up, and already we have that feeling of this character being minor or really being put down. So if we were to go ahead and focus on this now, as we switch between the two, we really get that feeling of a towering figure and a more innocent figure. So if we were to even hit play, maybe he's saying, oh, you didn't do too good of a job, and at this point, if we had this character animated, maybe he would turn his head to the side and really put himself down. So again, those are some things we want to consider. And again, storyboards are definitely helpful and should be done before you even get in 3D and do this process. Let's go ahead and take a look at another example. This time a diagram when choosing camera angles for a building. So I'll go ahead and pause the video and bring that up. All right, here we have it. And when choosing camera angles when it comes to framing buildings, we're really dealing with linear perspective. And what we want to keep in mind here, the main thing is that we want a sense of dimensionality. If we're focusing on the front part of a building, maybe shift the camera around slightly so we see a three-quarter view, so we have a feeling of not only the front of the building, but some of the side and either top or bottom of that object or of what is being framed up, just so we have that feeling of depth in our scene. If we just focus on that front view, we lose that feeling of depth. So we create a greater effect by just angling our camera to see a three-quarter view of the subject. All right, so with that said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a few other examples of camera angles and of basically making sure that our composition is one that will be received by the audience the way we'd expect it to be received.